You might be starting your first semester in school, but let's jump ahead all the way to graduation day. Maybe you've got an inspiring quote on your cap. You're wearing jewelry that reminds you of a particular family member or friend that's been key and critical on this journey. They call your name. You hear your family and friends give a shout from the back of the stadium. This is that milestone moment that you've worked for. You walk up to the stage, you shake the dean's hand, you get a signed diploma, a party honoring you, your friends, family, and professors there. Wait, professors? Students and professors are a unique team in the academe, both working to support one another. And you had that real connection, a student-faculty relationship that stood out. And because of that connection, you didn't just take the classes. You grew, you changed, you were transformed, you learned a whole lot more than you would have even expected. So what was it that made such a difference? Hello, I'm Dr. Chad Brands with Mentoring Docs. Thanks for joining. No matter what subject you study, let's help you build better, more effective relationships with your professors. Because the stronger that connection, the more you're going to grow, learn, and succeed on your future career professional development pathway. There's a framework for this. Let's follow D.E.E.P.E.R. D is for dedication to your studies and that daring drive to learn. It starts with the basics, the fundamentals. You must simply show up even when you don't feel like it. Don't trust your emotions on this educational journey. They're not going to be an effective strategy. Your emotions are going to say, I'm tired, let's sleep in. Your emotions are going to say, I'm hungry, let's stop for food. Forget about the classes. Your emotions are going to leave you upset without determinable results. Dedication's worth so much more. Dedication also involves that daring drive to learn. The best students are driven. They're self-starters, going fast, to seek guidance and follow direction, to take their learning deeper. Active learning starts with asking questions of expert faculty members. Passive learning, meaning glazing over textbooks and rote memorization, might be easier in the moment, but it's not going to take you very far. So how do we make the switch? It's the great part about active learning. You can start today. Tell yourself that you're in the driver's seat. Either you pave your own path or someone else is going to select a role for it that just won't fit you. You're never going to become a great surgeon by simply studying anatomy online or going to lectures. You have to go to the labs, learn the anatomy and the dissection, and be engaged in the simulation laboratory where we can actually simulate surgical procedures. Transition into the real field of the surgical suite in a hospital, immersion learning, onto experiential learning. So ask yourself, am I driven with a daring drive to learn more so that I can be even better at what I'm ultimately pursuing professionally? Our first E in this mnemonic is enthusiasm for the subject. Genuine enthusiasm is going to translate into another E, excitement for lifelong learning. Several things here. As professors, we really do take note of enthusiastic and excited students. They're standouts, and they're the ones asking great questions in class or after class sessions, some of which we as professors might not have even thought of ourselves. That's the encouragement and excitement of being in the arena together learning. These students go to office hours and check in, even if you've always been a great student with a stratospheric GPA. There's the desire to improve, the learning for lifelong situations, not just for the exam. Some of you have had different starting lines, and yet you want to continue to improve your station in life by showing your professors as guides and teachers that you truly have the drive. These standout students really model their enthusiasm inside and outside the classroom, not because they're grandstanding or showing off, but because they really want to problem solve and learn the material for life. So when you've got this kind of enthusiasm and it enters our classrooms, all of a sudden there's wind behind the sails, and we've shifted, all of us, from the routine of textbook mundane learning to question-driven, Socratically curiosity-filled discussions all over campus. Professors and students are spending class time and time outside of the classroom trying to answer, well, does that work? How do we do it? Why do we do it that way? Can we do it in a different way? These exciting discussions quickly turn into innovation, a hallmark in top-tier academic programs that, for example, equip nurses and engineers and doctors in medicine, cures, and treatments that don't even exist yet, except maybe in our minds. So what do you do if you don't always feel that excitement or enthusiasm? What do you do if you find yourself disinterested in classes or can't really bring yourself to ask those questions and to be courageously curious? Well, two things. First, before you give up on your studies, go to your professor. It's our job to help you succeed. Not all of us have the same love for biochemistry, right? Sometimes we need to take a step back, look at that big picture, and see if it's just one class that's the issue, Or maybe it's something outside of school that's stalling out your progress. Maybe something deeper under the surface is at play. Brings me to my second point. If you're feeling disinterested over a long period of time, and maybe over several classes, then use it as an opportunity to do a self-check-in. On the topic of medicine, a lot of individuals want to become doctors for many reasons, but some of those reasons start to show some cracks once you dive into the tough life of a medical student. Check in. Check your motivations. Check with a few classmates. Do the gut check, the brain check, and get a mentor, someone who doesn't really have a stake in the same game except your success. Great students are those curiously inquisitive, lifelong learners, motivated to go deeper into that mine shaft of subject material and not just settling for the status quo at the surface level and not go digging any deeper. They see exponential growth in learning subjects and fields of study that they're going to apply and use for the rest of their career lifetimes. Enthusiasm is so key in developing better relationships with your professors. Demonstrating individual levels of enthusiasm and interest in that area of the subject matter on your part is critical. It's vital. The next E is for excellence in the field. Live it. If you start this journey now, you're likely to become a leading expert in the field you're pursuing. Wait, that's your professor. Right on. She worked for it. He earned it. They're accomplished and shaped the field. Experts, teachers, scholars, leaders, innovators. And they likely started just where you are. Take note. Start to emulate their approaches, their work ethics, their scholarly endeavors. What are they reading? What podcasts are they listening to? What are they writing? When do they write? How do they collaborate with experts? What national meetings do they go to? What types of projects are they working on with their colleagues internationally? What are their goals? How do they do continuing education and lifelong learning? Even after they got a terminal degree, they didn't stop learning. One of the best ways you can learn more about how to approach your studying is to have these informal chats with your professors and ask them what constitutes excellence in their fields of study and how they pursue it. A lot of students are just going through the motion, another lecture, another assignment, take another class, check. Not learning for life, not really engaged, just going through the motions. Remember, that's not going to get you to excellence. To be excellent, you've got to accrue expertise over a career lifetime. So get energized, get enthused, and then work for excellence academically. And you're going to be on your way to becoming an expert in a field that you're passionate about, maybe even joining your professor as a colleague someday. P is for professionalism in this schema, and it embodies what is going on in the profession for both students and professors. Professionalism starts and ends with respect. Respect builds trust. Trust builds healthy academic and professional relationships. Respect for the profession, respect for the professor. So what is respect? Is it bowing down to each other at the start of class? No. They want your commitment to learning. The course syllabus is really the roadmap for what you need to learn as a student. It's also a faculty member's contractual commitment to how you're going to learn and leave that class at the end knowing what you need to know for life, not just for the exam. The syllabus tells you what you're going to be knowing by the end of the course, but also in the course how you learn it. The reading material, the course formats, the modalities, lecture, labs, case-based discussion. So don't be intimidated by a detailed, in-depth syllabus. You want a professor who's got the big picture, who's given considerable thought and time into crafting an excellent course that will help put you on the successful journey to the other side of that course and to life pursuits. That professor's got a different point of view and many different ways of learning and teaching. Respect those. Commitment to yourself to follow through and do what's asked of you, the student in the syllabus. Then you're going to stretch and grow. And respect is not just between you and the professor. Respect is between your fellow students, different viewpoints, collaboration. No matter the subject you're studying, it's a key life skill to have. Remember, grades and test scores are just one part of any hiring or application process or in the academe. Hiring committees of organizations are looking for candidates with excellent people skills, leadership skills, and those skills start today. You can be the most brilliant student in the room, but the standouts are those who are going to commit to learning for life in that syllabus as a roadmap to the future, eager to help their cohort push together as a team to future goals, understanding and appreciating that each of you brings a different viewpoint at a different starting point with different abilities, trajectories, skill levels as you work together to learn the material. Especially in competitive academic programs, don't be so quick to brush off the B+ student. They might not yet be a great test taker, but they've got so much to give as to how you can excel in your labs, in your case-based discussions, and in lectures. We all have something that we can bring to teach one another. E is for experiential and exponential learning. Remember, life's not about grades. Life is about growth through the toughest situations of life. The standout students connect their own life experiences to learning inside and outside the classroom. More specifically, their special campus presentations, the study abroad trips, the informational interviews that you have with experts in your field of study, the informal sessions, the journal clubs that you attend, the journaling that you do on your own to reflect, the coaching sessions that help you zero in on exactly where you want to go, how you're going to get there, and where and how you're going to grow. Are you getting an extra credit sticker by going to these sessions? No. But you are driving yourself towards a better degree and a higher plane of success. To bring back a letter, that D for dedication really comes into play here. If you want to get the most bang for your buck, the most value of your time, it's really about all coming back to you. So today, I challenge you to take on one of those out of the classroom opportunities. What's the best that could happen? One of the best things that can happen is what happens to your learning. It will accelerate out of the classroom exponentially. You're not just fixated on getting grades and stratospheric GPAs, right? You're connecting education and life to recognize that you're moving through a career pathway that's going to prepare you successfully for where you're headed. Make no mistake, it's a good thing to want to do well on your quizzes and your tests and your exams and in your coursework. But don't miss the bigger picture of amplifying what you're getting in the classroom and connecting it with real-world experience. A message to all of those of you fixated on getting that A+, perfect GPA in every single course, every single time. Right? Don't get discouraged when you miss out on a handful of tests. Give yourself some grace. You're going to learn for life. Tell yourself it's more about the overall direction you're heading than making sure there's a zero set of mistakes on your report card. That's taking education to the exponential level of learning. R is about honoring the rules of the road and the regulations of the university in the world of the academe. It's essential when discussing healthy relationships between students and professors that we address some of the important boundaries. Remember, your professor is not your therapist, not your boss, not your girlfriend, not your boyfriend, not your friend, not your parent, not a hiring agency, not someone who can give you a fast pass to acing the course without putting in your effort. And again, it's that commitment. Your professor is committing first and foremost to your academic success, as outlined in that roadmap to learning called the syllabus. There shouldn't be any surprises there. That document really clearly outlines what you need to be able to do to demonstrate that you know the critical learnings at the heart of the course and at the end of the course. Meanwhile, you commit to meeting the goals and expectations of the syllabus, fulfilling its objectives, turning in your coursework on time, professionally, with integrity, consistent class participation, meeting certain test thresholds. Bribes of any kind are not part of that syllabus. Now, you can be cordial in your professional relationships with your professors for sure, but there are boundaries, and those boundaries need to be honored for your protection and the protection of your classmates. Your university should have specific rules about what's normal for a professor and a student and what is not. As a student, you should know those rules, document any incidents, and speak up when something's not right. Your school should also have a more general academic code of conduct, specific to what's expected of you as a student, an honor code, rules about not plagiarizing, use of AI, not cheating, right ethics. If any of these seem unclear, ask. Anyone can make mistakes as a student, but academic code of conduct violations and disciplinary actions are the things that you really don't want on your transcript or record. It's something you'll regret deeply if you have to appear before an honors committee or a faculty senate. For what it's worth, many of those violations happen when students don't have a great way to manage their time effectively. For some ideas on time blocking, check out the video down below. To recap, here's a breakdown of how to better your relationship with your professors. D is for dedication, that daring drive to learn. E, you're enthused. Demonstrate excitement for lifelong learning. E, become excellent in all you do. Emulate your professors. P is for professionalism, respecting professors and students in the academic environment. E is for experiential and exponential learning. And R is for rules of the road with academic integrity. Now, it's about your future. You can see it, graduation, diploma in hand, the next steps of your career. And at that ceremony, those professors who were instrumental to your academic success are now your colleagues. They're going to be cheering you on as you head into the next steps of your exciting academic and career professional steps into the future, because you proved to be an enthusiastic, committed student who pursued excellence with them. What's something a professor did for you that made all the difference in your studies and in your academic pursuits? Leave a comment down below. Feel free to share it, and we'll get an additional discussion going. Thank that professor for everything that he or she's done to help you and move towards success in your career journey. And if this video has challenged you to think differently about how to build and develop greater relationships with your professors, let me know, because others are going to find it useful as well. This channel has a number of practical videos designed to help you succeed in your quest for additional academic and career success. Until next time, stay well and study well as you try and strive to develop deeper relationships, better relationships with your professors.
Doctors and the dean is here, wisdom I pack no fear. Medical school's a marathon, not a sprint, my dear.